This is going to be the challenge, and this is not a challenge for this week or this month. This is a challenge for you in your life whenever the time calls. Because the time may not come until, it isn't like that throughout the Bible, they were always fasting. It wasn't a weekly thing. They did not have a schedule. Well, it's Tuesday, it's fasting day. It was when they were going through things that they would turn to God and they would fast. So this may be something that happens this week. It may be something that happens next year. But this is my challenge. And this is what I think this is, it isn't my challenge, it's God's challenge. It's all throughout the book. Old Testament, New Testament, they fasted. Jesus said, when you fast. I think Jesus wanted us to do that, to become more reliant on Him. There's different forms of fasting. There is radical fasting, where you go a certain period of time with nothing whatsoever. No food, no water, no drink, nothing whatsoever. You go 24 hours, or you go 7 days, or however you want. You pick an amount of time and you do that. It is dangerous. It's a very dangerous form of fasting, especially when you consider the age of some people who may be fasting, the physical situation of some people. Some people have certain illnesses or certain conditions where if you were to do this, your body would probably shut down and you could possibly die. So there is that form of radical fasting. That's not what I'm talking about tonight. And I'm not talking about partial fasting, which a lot of people will do at Lent time, where they will say, you know what? For Lent, I am going to give up for 40 days and 40 nights, I'm going to give up chewing bubble gum. I'm going to give up drinking sweet tea. I'm going to give up sweets. And that's wonderful. That's wonderful. It may be a little hard to do, but it isn't really an extreme sacrifice to give up one thing, even though you're going to eat all this other stuff and drink all this other stuff. I'm not going to drink tea, but I'm going to drink 7 Coca-Colas. Well, that's good, but I don't think that's enough. I think the type of fasting that we should focus on is the type of fasting that I was reading about, that was one of the types of fasting in those days, where you took food out of the situation and you could have water and juice. That is what they would drink. Water and juice, water and wine, but if you want to have wine, have wine. But water and juice. Not water and a bunch of Coca-Colas, not water and a bunch of coffee, not a bunch of milk, not any of that, but water and juice was a form to where that way your body is getting something, but you're not getting, because your body's going to be able to tell that you're not eating food. It's going to let you know. And at that time, you will rely on God during that period of time to nourish you and to be in prayer to God to do that. That is the type of fasting that I would like us to look at for this month, but as the future holds for us. And it isn't something that there will be accountability for, because Jesus orders us not to. He orders us not to let other people know. It's something that you yourself can decide if you want to do it or not do it. It's a personal decision. But I want to encourage you that I think that the Word of God wants us to do it. And whatever your physical condition is, you may have to eat a little bit of something. You may have to have some bread or have a little something. That's fine, but try to find a way where you're getting what you need to survive, but just that. Not, well, I have to eat, and since I have to eat, I'm going to have 2 Big Macs. Well, you don't have to have that much. I don't know the sickness where you have to have that much, but find what you have to have in order so that you won't, physically have to go to the hospital, but that you have to sacrifice to where your focus for a 24-hour period is just on God. Where you pray about it, something in your life, and then you go to the Lord, you wake up, and you go 24 hours, just one day where you can only have water or juice, and everything else, all your other nourishment, your spiritual nourishment, all will come from God. That is what I want to challenge all of us to do today. I want to challenge us to not to do this, like I said, to tell people we're doing it, to ask other people if they've ever fasted, to be able to say, oh, I fasted. It's not about man. It's not about me. It's not even about ourselves. It's about obedience to God in a way that we're getting back to the way that they lived in the days of Christ. We have gotten so far. We have gotten so far. And I don't know if we can ever entirely get back to how they lived, but we've gotten so far away from the Christians of the early church. The Christians of the early church faced a lot of persecution. And you know what? Even as a pastor, I can't think of a lot of times today that I face a lot of persecution. Most Christians today do not face a lot of persecution around here. We've gotten so far away, and I don't think that it's a coincidence that the country and this world has gotten off track as much either. I think it has to do with the church getting away from how we were supposed to be. I think that we are to be in prayer. I think we are to be in the Word. I think we are to be inviting and telling people about Christ. I think we need to be fasting. Things that draw us closer to God, I think we need to get back to the way it was. So that's the challenge tonight, is to just think about it. Pray about it. Is it something that you should take on? And if it is, then do it. If it's something that you do not feel is necessary, then that's fine. It doesn't make you any less of a Christian. I just feel like that it's something we can do to draw back closer to God. And in that obedience, I think He will bless this church. I think that He will really see that we are serious about serving Him. So anyway, that is the challenge. Let us go to the Lord in prayer. Most gracious